Dialogue Institute is a national and international conflict transformation organization whose mission is to create a world where people coexist peacefully, justly, and productively through dialogue across divides. The Institute's National Dialogue Award is annually awarded to leading Americans who seek to heal our nation, transcend its current divides, and bring about equality and justice for all. This year, the Sustained Dialogue Institute is honoring former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, Captain Mark Kelly, Ambassador Ray and Shaista Mahmood, and the Honorable Esther Coopersmith at its annual National Dialogue Awards Dinner at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C.
There's a specialness about honoring people who you really care about. And I think Mark and Gabby are something special in this world because they've had these traumatic moments and forgiven people. They've changed around somehow, made a difference. Sustained dialogue is probably a mystery to some of you and well-known, too well-known perhaps for some others. But let me give you the center of it. It was born at Camp David in many ways in the 1970s, where our founder, Hal Saunders, was Assistant Secretary of State. And he noticed, I'm going to give you the short form, two things. The first is that agreement, which still holds today, in a remarkable way in the roughest neighborhood of the world, it worked not because of the accord that they signed, but because of the relationships that were formed that allowed that to happen. He saw that relationships, not the conflict itself, are the things that transform conflict. That's the first thing. And the second thing he noticed was that people go through a series of stages to get to transformed conflict. And he started writing them down. And now, after we've got a voluminous amounts of literature about it, that still stands as really the core of what sustained dialogue is.
The National Dialogue Award also includes students drawn from the more than 60 campuses where the Sustained Dialogue Institute has chapters. The Global Peacemaker Award is presented by former Congressman James Moran to Ambassador Ray and Shaista Mahmood. The Mahmoods have centered their lives on bringing together those with diverse backgrounds in order to build friendships and prosperity for all.
Ray and Shaista Mahmood. They define what our country is all about. They have brought people together because they understand that our hope in the future is all about bringing people with different points of view together. They bring people from countries that are in conflict. Most people are decent people. And when you get them together and they get to know each other, they develop a relationship. And that relationship invariably leads to respect, ultimately friendship. And that's how dialogue is sustained, and that's how peace is created, and ultimately it leads to the kind of inclusive community that we're all about. So that's what they're about.
I really want to share this award to every single person who is really working for peace, for our children, and for our grandchildren. So I just wanted to end with this note with Rosenberg Heisenberg. She said, it's not enough to just talk about peace, you just have to believe in it. It's not enough to just believe in it, you all have to work at it. So thank you.
The first Lifetime Achievement Award is presented by Rear Admiral Susan J. Blumenthal, M.D., to the Honorable Esther Coopersmith. Mrs. Coopersmith is a Goodwill Ambassador for UNESCO and has been a legendary leader in our nation's capital, diplomacy, and politics.
Esther is a genius at networking. She's organized and chaired countless charity events and scintillating dinners. Her events are a polyglot, a mix of political parties, causes, and ideologies. Her goal for her gatherings is for people to make a new friend, to have a great time, and to cross a divide. She is a must-have mentor for so many ambassadors, politicians, and philanthropists. Esther has devoted her life to achieving a more peaceful tool with the tools of smart power, education, health, science, culture, and arts. And she has served in that capacity using those tools as a Goodwill Ambassador to UNESCO. Esther has been a friend to every president since Truman and has been involved in many initiatives for the rapprochement of cultures across the world, including the Middle East, Russia, Thailand, and working with her good friend, the Queen there. Ambassador Esther Coopersmith, an international treasure, a force of nature, a powerhouse who gets things done. You are the human embodiment of what the first ever Lifetime Achievement Award for Sustained Dialogue is all about. Congratulations.
Life is really good, and I hope all of your lives have been good. That's all we can ask for. And I thank all of you for being here.
The Honorable Nancy Pelosi, House Minority Leader, presented former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords and Captain Mark Kelly with the National Dialogue Award for their dedication to Sustained Dialogue Institute's highest ideals.
Former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords and Commander Mark Kelly are outstanding symbols of courage and selflessness, and to millions, they stir the country with their determined spirits. I want to give you the opportunity to recognize how special it is that they are receiving this award. Since the tragic day in Tucson, Gabby and Mark have fought tirelessly to bring honest, constructive dialogue to the daily epidemic of gun violence, a dark stain on our communities today. Their relentless advocacy is shifting attitudes, beginning to change laws, and saving lives. Their courageous efforts are forging new solutions through civil discourse and human connection.
Gabby and I started an organization now called Giffords that is trying to address this horrific rate of gun violence in our country. We have typically around 35,000, 36,000 people die every year from a gunshot wound, another 100,000 injured, and it's unacceptable. There are some people that would like us to think this is normal, and this is just part of living in the United States, but that's not true, so certainly don't believe that. We also try to approach this, as Speaker Pelosi said, in a very nonpartisan or bipartisan way. We try very hard to do that. We also try to live up to the principles of the Sustained Dialogue Institute in trying to meet with people who think differently about this. We're talking about dialogue and people getting to know each other better and working together as a group. But the one thing I've been worrying about a lot lately, and that is the folks that just don't believe in the facts. And this is really concerning me from somebody from my background, somebody who relied on data and facts to get into space safely and to get back safely. And it's something that really should not be debatable. We have a segment of our society that does not believe in things that are real. And it is very concerning to me. When I flew my first space flight in 2001, compared to my fourth one in 2011, over a decade, I could see a change in our planet. That's over 10 years. This planet is 4.5 billion years old. If some guy from New Jersey can look down and see a change in this planet, we've got a problem. I mean, really. And we need to fix it because, our children and grandchildren are going to suffer if we don't fix this problem. And the first step in fixing this is believing things that are true and discarding, what is not real and what is not real data. So we commend and we support and we understand and we try to live by the principles of the Sustained Dialogue Institute. But I think all of us, we really got to stand up to those folks that don't believe reality and push back and continue to push back. I want to thank Senator Markey for doing that. And thank you, everybody, for this award. It means a lot to Gabby and I. Thank you very much. Dialogue is incredibly important. I mean, the only way to solve problems is continue to talk from both sides of every issue. And that's what this organization does. So we are so happy to be here tonight, to be a part of this, to see some old friends, and to come to a place that has such national significance, historic significance, the National Press Club. Especially today, you know, we're often talking about how important the First Amendment is and the press. So Gabby and I are happy to be in this building.
'Cause there won't be tomorrow. In time, you'll find a way. Then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive.